Hello, everyone. I just wanted to check in with you all about this week's discussion board just because there's so many moving parts to it, and I've received some questions about it, but hopefully this can help clarify things for people that have already started to work on it, and as well as for those that haven't. So there's a couple things I want to go through. First, you need to find two journal articles for this week. And for those that have already done the assignment, they realize that you can only post one PDF. It appears in the Canvas discussion board. So you need to attach the two PDFs to the articles that you find. So when this happens, just comment to your own discussion board thread when you post with the second PDF. It's a little annoying and tedious, but that's the best we can do for now. So just go ahead and post the second PDF as a comment to your own discussion board. Just a quick suggestion for when you're searching for articles and you're trying to figure out if it's a peer-reviewed journal article, if it's a scholarly article. One way you can do this is through a nice feature that the library has. So I'm just going to type in academic achievement and college to see what I get. It doesn't really matter what I get here. I just want to show you this cool feature that on the left-hand side of the results page is a option called peer-reviewed journals. If you click on that, then it filters, and all these results are peer-reviewed journals. So anything you see here, you know is a peer-reviewed journal, so you know you're getting a correct type of resource. The other thing that I want to touch on is you have to get, for this assignment, you have to state the null and alternative hypotheses. Now, this is sometimes difficult because some articles sometimes don't explicitly say what the hypotheses are, so sometimes you actually have to go and figure it out yourself. Now, one way that I always try to do this when I'm looking at what's the article trying to figure out is first read the abstract to see what are they mainly talking about. In this case, you might actually be able to figure out what the hypothesis of the article is simply by reading it. For example, in this article, this person says, in this study, I ask how parents' income and education are linked to young adult student loan debt. So right here, you can make the assumption here that the null hypothesis is parent income and education is not linked, is not associated, does not have a relationship with student loan debt. The alternative is, yes, there is a relationship between income and education with student loan debt. Another way I like to do this is typically when you go through a journal article, you have the abstract and then you have the introduction, which is basically the literature review of all that's been done on the topic and why they want to do the study that they're doing. A lot of times, an article will have these sections, the current investigation and or hypotheses. So some articles like this one will literally come out and say the following hypotheses are, and they'll list them. So you can see what their hypotheses are, and you can use your own judgment to figure out the null and the alternative from there. So for instance, right here it says parent involvement in home literacy at the beginning of kindergarten will positively be associated with the achievement in kindergarten. So that could be considered as the alternative, where the null would be there is no association between these two things. Sometimes in these sections you won't get hypotheses, but you'll get research questions. So the research question could be, if they state it differently, is parent involvement in home literacy at the beginning of kindergarten positively associated with achievement in kindergarten? So from that, if it's framed as a question, you could say, okay, well, then the null is, no, there is not a relationship between parent involvement and achievement in kindergarten. The alternative would be, yes, there is a relationship between parent involvement in home literacy and achievement in kindergarten. So sometimes if you're given research questions, or aims, sometimes you have to kind of extrapolate out, well, what is the hypotheses that they're really saying here? So if the aim is to understand the relationship between parent involvement in home literacy and academic achievement, you can probably guess that the null is there is no relationship, and the alternative is there is. So hopefully that helps out. The other thing is, when you're going through this assignment, it says explain what the study is trying to accomplish. I want you to do this in your own words. So don't directly pull text from the abstract or the article, but really look at it, digest it, and then in your own words, give a summary of what the article was trying to accomplish. The last thing I really wanted to cover was, based on the p-value reported, what conclusions can you make? And this is something that's really difficult to learn at first when you're reading through journal articles. So I just want to give you guys a couple quick tips on how to accomplish this. So sometimes in journal articles, in the results section, they will give you these tables with the results. So this table here is the summary of ordinary least squared regression models predicting log student debt. So basically, this is the table trying to predict student loan debt, and these are the predictors. And the main thing here is if you see asterisks, that means that these variables are seen as statistically significant. So the p-value is less than 0.05. And typically in a table, they'll say 1 asterisk means less than 0.05, 2 is less than 0.01, and p is, for 3, it's p is less than 0.001. If you see an asterisk in a table, that is a signifier to you that there is a relationship, a statistically significant relationship between the variable typically on the left column with whatever outcome that they're looking at. Another way that sometimes studies do this is if there's a path model, so A causes B causes C, you'll see a graph sometimes that looks like this. And oftentimes here you'll see an arrow with a coefficient. I'm not really worried about you all figuring out what these coefficients mean, but typically if you look at the bottom of these figures, it'll tell you that all effects shown are significant at the 0.05 level. So sometimes they'll only show pathways that are significant, and sometimes they'll show all pathways but indicate whether something is significant by the asterisk markings that I just showed here. So sometimes this might also appear next to these right here. So I know I just threw a lot at you at once. Please feel free to email me with any questions, concerns you have. If you have already started working on it or you have posted, feel free to go back and make adjustments before the Friday midnight deadline. But again, hopefully this helps you out. And I look forward to seeing all the great articles that you guys find. And again, if you guys have any questions or concerns, please let me know. All right, take care.